Before anybody says anything, no, I am not paid to make this video. No, this is not sponsored. And no, not even YouTube is paying me for this type of content. In today's video, I'd like to talk about some of the questions, rumors, theories that I've seen floating around Twitter for about a year or so. This is largely multi-fandom, and I've been digging around to see if I could actually find an answer to some of the main recurring questions from the fans. So hopefully I can help and shine a light on some of the aspects of the J-pop entertainment industry, but more specifically on how I think Johnny's has evolved since opening up to not only social medias but also the international markets. One of the main points that I've seen in every single fandom is Spotify, and why not all the groups are on Spotify. Now, as opposed to the West, in Japan specifically, the city's physical market is still a very lucrative market. The streaming services are slowly rising, but there's still a large place for physical sales. So it's not an immediate need for them to transfer from physical market to the streaming platform. Despite a slow decline in sales in the past decade, CDs are still the most popular music format in Japan, accounting for around 70% of recorded music sales last year. Streaming services, which had accounted for less than 10% of sales in Japan until a few years ago, grew to 15% last year and will likely increase 20% this year. Now, this 15% is actually the percent of consumer spend, not industry revenue. So as a result, for most studios that have made the jump to full streaming models, it is more or less a marketing tool, meaning this is a point of entry for them to get the interest of the public in order to drive them to other sources of revenue. So it's not really a business pillar in and of itself. So as you can see, physical market is still very lucrative, so this is where the focus is. With the growing popularity of streaming services, this might well change in the coming few years, but as of today, the revenues made from the streams are actually a fraction of what the physical sales are making. CDs and vinyl still made up over 2/3 of the country's annual recorded music trade revenue. Streaming, meanwhile, contributed less than 1/5 of the market's wholesale industry turnover. If right now Spotify in the West is the most popular service, in Japan, the distribution might be done on another platform simply because they are not the first streaming providers. And I'm thinking about Live Music, which I had no idea existed until I started working on this video. Live Music is actually a joint venture between Sony Music Entertainment, Universal Music, Avex, and Light. Now, another thing that might come into play is the way we are viewing Johnny's as an agency compared to what they are actually doing. Because they are producing music and they are making contracts with music labels, it's easy to think that the main focus of Johnny's is creating music. That is not the case. Johnny's is a talent agency. They are creating artists that are able to cater to several aspects of the industry. This is why they are also making deals with music labels for groups that are debuting in majors. So the focus of the agency is on the talents, the boys themselves, not really on the music. To say it plainly, the product that Johnny's is creating is not music, it's people, it's artists. So whether they go into acting, dancing, singing, these are just mediums to promote who they are as people, as a group, as a brand. So as a result, because their focus is on the boys themselves and who they are, the platform that would make more sense to promote their personalities would actually be YouTube, which is why they have invested with the juniors as guinea pigs, like everybody said, but this is why YouTube was chosen as the main platform. Again, the music is not the main focus because this is the label's job. The second question would be about Instagram. Why are not all the groups on it, and why no personal Instagram account is created? My main question here is why Kento Nakajima does not have a personal Instagram account. I needed an answer here. I needed to know. If you look at the groups that actually have an Instagram account right now, usually only the debuting group would have an account, except for Travis Japan, who managed to have an Instagram account quite early on, before some of the debuted groups like King and Prince. And the only exception that I found for solo artists would be the solo act themselves. So for example, I'm thinking about Yamapi before he left the agency, Kim Taku since SMAP is now disbanded. And another exception is actually Kinky Kids, who both have a separate account. It's actually representing their personal projects. So Endless Shock and André Chéri. I'm sorry about the accent, this is the French coming out. André Chéri is how I'm going to say this. I'm following mainly Endless Shock because when I was on it, and yes, there are personal photos, but it's not an account for him as a person, it's an account for the project. So this is a bit different from the different pages that I've been creating throughout the year to promote a specific drama, a specific TV show, and this is handled by the network that actually owns the drama on the TV show. So it's not handled by the artists or by the groups or by journeys. The choice of having only the group handling this type of social media, the service of the group is more important than the service of one individual, and the account, if created, should be handled by all the members. So the motto here is all for one. If not all the members are on board with handling an account, it's not created. And I'm thinking very specifically about kat-tun. The only reason they have an Instagram page is because they have Nanisoru kat-tun to promote. So the same thing would apply for Instagram and TikTok, but it's also important to remember that what platform is popular right now might not be popular tomorrow. So we have Facebook that has faded away, Snapchat, who is basically dead, Vine, who died, rest in peace, and now we have TikTok, which is the new popular kid in town. GA's strategy is aiming for long-term strategy instead of investing on the trends, so that's why they might not be investing into this type of social media right away. Another social platform that has been long debated, and I've seen one of the rumors and it made me laugh, so I was like, you know what, maybe they have a point, I should dig into that. Is there beef between the official Twitter account and some of the artist accounts? The main concern that I've seen was about the official GA account and Stone's Twitter account, solely based on who follows who, why we don't have a Twitter account per group, and why they're not following each other. Island TV and Junior and the Junior YouTube channel, for example, don't really follow anyone because their purpose is a message service, meaning that they're just notifying when there's a new upload. I'm pretty sure that this can be automated the same way that when I post a new video, it can be posted directly into Twitter, simply because you can link the Twitter account to any other platform. I'm pretty sure that these are not really monitored by anybody. Now, it looks like the GA account follows only the artist's Twitter account that is managed by Johnny's itself, with the direct participation and input of the artist, meaning the talents, the boys. The other accounts are actually label accounts, so it's created by the music label as a tool to promote the music. Basically, it means that these accounts like Snowman, Toads, Flexizone, these are not managed by the artist, and this is why the content is different when I compared Stones to, for example, King and Prince. King and Prince, you can see their faces all around. It's very similar to what they post on Instagram. If you compare Stones' Instagram to their Twitter, it's very different. To be honest, the Twitter is very plain. It's only to promote the music, and this is because it's not created by the boys or by Johnny's. It's handled fully by the label. It's even in the name handle, so you know that this is created by Sony and managed by Sony. The artist account are the ones that are created by Johnny's, by the boys, managed by the boys, and these are the only official account that Johnny's is following. As of 1st of June now, the Johnny's official Twitter account has updated its policy because they probably heard us screaming. So now they will be following some of the label accounts, so it will be only one label account per group if and only if no official artist account exists for said group, in order to prevent appearance of favoritism. I've seen this for Kiss My, for example, and kat-tun. So every time there's a CD promotion, you have a new account. Every time there's a DVD, there's a new account. Every time there's a new tour, there's a new account. This is clearly labeled. To avoid following 300 accounts, this is why Johnny's will just follow one main account. At the end of the day, the boys decide to create a Twitter and handle it themselves. Then they will just unfollow the previous account and follow the artist. Next point, in terms of copyrighted content like CDs, DVD, JWeb, what is usable, what should not be posted, what is subject to copyright, because this is actually a bit more straightforward. In terms of content freely accessible, such as YouTube videos, Island TV videos, official pictures posted on Twitter, these are materials that are free to be used, to be downloaded, to be reposted, to be shared, because it's already provided for free. When it's behind a paywall, if you're actually paying for a content, anything that will be CD, DVD, music releases, it is subject to copyright and anti-piracy laws. Now, in terms of the JWeb, because people are paying to access the service, it's the same thing. That's why we're not sharing pictures that are posted on the blog. Many of you already know that below the pictures you can see the little copyright Johnny's and Associates. That means don't post it. But if you are creating an artwork or fan videos or memes or like any type of content that is grabbed from the free available material, this is completely fine. This is actually encouraged, especially when I'm taking the example of 7-Man Samurai. Probably you already know that I spent a stupid amount of time creating TikToks about 7-Man. So the videos are coming from Island TV and YouTube, so this is under the first point that I was mentioning earlier, and this is why this is okay. In line with copyrighted content and YouTube. Why are video blocked? Referring for example at Snowman at Japan Expo Thailand, and why some of the other content is region locked. So Snowman at Japan Expo Thailand was actually a very funny story. Johnny's copyrighted their own content. But this was made by accident actually. This is coming from the back end of YouTube. Permission was obviously granted because there was a partnership with Snowman's coming and performing at the event. But in the back end of YouTube, if you don't click on the little buttons, the YouTube bot doesn't make any difference. The YouTube bot will say copyrighted and the video will be down. Mostly based on the audio track that the bot can easily identify. And somebody didn't do their job properly. Or intern. I'm assuming this is an intern. This is not the same as other content that is not created by the labels or by the agency. When it's region blocked, usually it's coming from the network. I'm thinking mostly of variety, like TV shows or stuff like that can be region blocked. Meaning that the TV station / network would own the rights to this specific material and they are entitled to region block it if they want to. That's not Johnny's deciding, that's the network. So depending on the type of content and who owns the actual content, it can be subject to region block, mainly because networks or TV stations do not want the content to be outside of Japan because this is going outside of their market and their focus. Fair use doesn't really exist in Japan, so the copyright laws are very different compared to what we are used to in the West. If it's region block, it's likely the label decision or the network decision because they are the one owning this particular material. So this is where it's coming from. So no, it's not personal and Janice doesn't really actually hate us. That's good to know. Why are CDs sold or shipped internationally not included in the sales count? So all sales are actually included but at different times. So the sales made by the primary distributor of international sales such as CD Japan, Yes Asia, etc. are reported back to the labels on a monthly or quarterly basis. This is not included in the early numbers from 1 week after the release of the CDs, but ultimately it is counting for something. It is taken into account. One of the points that I've been seeing is their favoritism. I've seen this mostly for juniors. This is mostly dependent on what each group's strategy is at a given time. So Kansai Chinese Junior have been very vocal about making it to Tokyo. So their focus is most likely local at the moment rather than international. I'm not saying that they are giving more priority to one fan base to the other. Like obviously every single artist is caring about the entire fan base. They are always thankful to their local Japanese fans but also all the international fans and overseas fans. So that's why they're always trying to be vocal about it. It's just in terms of business strategy in my mind. There is a difference between caring about the people supporting you and the will to push your brand outside of Japan. Labels, network and media partners don't have an interest outside of Japan, mainly because of the CD market that I mentioned at the very beginning of the video, but also because they are not really in favor of promoting outside of Japan. Journeys can redirect to the Japanese media since the Twitter account is exclusively in English. In the event, the news is not published or relayed by the Journeys official account on Twitter. This is most likely the Japanese media is asking not to, in order to not lose traction to their own publication, their own promotion from the Japanese fan, which is the primary market. One aspect that I wanted to mention as well, because I can talk about what I know best, which is kat-tun. Most debuted groups are still very unfamiliar with social media, or they do not really have any interest into investing into that because it's adding to their schedule. So Nakamaru always wanted to do YouTube content. He actually flagged this to Ueda and Kame and said like, we should do YouTube, I can edit the video, we can post content, and the poor thing was rejected right away. On the spot, simply because Ueda and Kame have no interest into making YouTube content. They already struggle to upload their own blog on JWeb, and so this is more of a chore to them. This is going back to what I was saying about Instagram. If all the members are not willing to participate and actively contribute to the platform or the account, it's not created. During one of the episodes on Janina channel, they expressed the idea of doing morning routine with all the other members of their groups, since they are all in separate groups. And Nakamaru right away said it's not gonna happen with kat-tun. Now going back to the junior, taking into account the two groups that I've been following more closely, which are Travis Japan and Seven Men Samurai, they have been very vocal for a few years about wanting to make it outside of Japan, being a bit more targeted overseas and internationally. So obviously if they are creating content that is aimed towards the Johnny's official account, which is solely in English, they are more likely to get more exposure simply because they are investing more time and more material into it. So it's also part of what each group is doing occurring at this moment in time. The more they are creating, the more it's relayed, and obviously it's more visible to us because it's intended to us. So while some of the groups are focusing more on the local market and they are creating content for the Japanese market into Japanese and targeting Japanese media, the groups that are targeting towards the international market will be relayed more frequently on the Twitter account. So this is why you are getting more exposure to these groups in particular, and you might feel that there's a favoritism. Johnny's coming in and opening up to social media is actually very recent. This is actually a shift into a business model that has been in place for 30+ years. They do have a lot to catch up with through trial and error to see what is working without taking too many risks. So this is still for me a work in progress. I've seen a lot of things opening up. Like, there is the amount of content that is available now compared to 5 years ago is insane. I know we're not the most patient bunch, but we still have to wait a bit more, you guys. Next point will be about subtitles. There is an option for the fans to contribute to subtitles by submitting the subtitles via Amara for the videos that are uploaded on YouTube. Is the Amara or subtitle submission system too slow? Is it subject to favoritism, and should it be rewarded financially? So that was a little surprising to me, because when the video was submitted via the YouTube platform directly, nobody seemed to have a problem with it, but when it switched to Amara, things seems to escalate a little bit. Nothing has changed in terms of the process. It's just the platform used to submit that is different, simply because YouTube removed the option to submit subtitles directly. So subtitles are processed that in order that they are received. Obviously, with the amount of videos and groups that are available now, you can imagine the number of submissions that they are receiving every day. I would say that mostly big name companies have a very small group of people working behind the scenes. The public tend to think that it's one person per task, when the reality is one person is doing 3 people's job. Of course, if they had a team of official translators paid by the agency, it might go faster and it might be a better way of doing things. But given the amount of material compared to the fan base that needs it at the time, and again, the main market, it may not be a priority right now. It might change moving forward, but this is why it was open to the fans instead. So to include the fans instead of having to sue the fans, because guess what, you guys? Fan sub is actually illegal in some countries. So legally, there is no difference between fan subs and bootlegs. In the eyes of the law, both could be seen as damaging to the market. Others may simply tolerate a fan activity as long as it does not become too damaging to the sale. In the end, regardless of ethics or motive, fan subs are technically illegal. If the fan subber obtains permission, or if the copyright holder otherwise grants permission through the copyright itself, then the fan sub can be legal. So that is actually the case for the subtitles submitted by the fans to the official YouTube channel of Johnny. It should be noted that the raw distribution, so meaning when you are ripping a TV show or you are ripping a concert and uploading it directly onto a streaming platform, that is strictly illegal. And last point that I wanted to cover today would be regarding distribution on streaming services. So what is the relationship Johnny's has with the TV studios and how this impacts the distribution of drama? Now we have dramas that are available on different streaming platforms such as Disney Plus or Netflix. Some of them were actually available a few years back. I'm thinking, for example, of Johnny's West. 2 dramas were actually available on Netflix at the time, and people are just wondering why Johnny's is not putting everything on Netflix or other streaming services, for example. The reason for that is very simple. Johnny's does not own the TV drama. They do not own the product, so they don't have a say on where it should be distributed. They don't have control on the accessibility or the distribution overseas. They can't really decide on where the drama should be available, so which platform this drama will be viewed on. TV studios are now seeing the business potential of streaming overseas, so this is why it has been opened up a little bit more in 2022, and this has opened up the door for people to find dramas online, even if it's not on their favorite platform. So I'm thinking of dramas being streamed on Viki instead of Netflix, for example. One thing that people have been flagging is why is the news not always relayed on time on the official account, because there seems to be a disconnect here. The TV studio owning the project are completely independent. They're doing whatever they want with the project and the promotion and the marketing with it. The TV studio don't really always relay the information on what is available, where it's available, and when it is available. Backstage, they do not have all the information relayed from the TV studio or the TV network, so until this is done and dusted, it won't be relayed by the official account. There you go, that was a long one. That was so long to make and to research, you guys. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up, share it around you, I would really appreciate it. If you have any other questions or idea or rumors or theories, please post it in the comment below. I'm always interested to see different aspects or different opinions, and if there's anything you want me to research, maybe I can just give that a go as well, just so you know it might not come tomorrow. Anyway, that's it for me this week. I'll see you very soon. Bye bye.
Back where?